pick up where we left last week, which was Siman Sadi, which is number 90. Seif Chav Daled 24. So we're 90-24 in the Mishnah Berurah. Next halacha: Lo yispalel b'tzad rabo, v'lo achuri rabo, v'lo lefanav. If you're davening in shul, you shouldn't daven next to your rebbe, and you shouldn't daven behind him or in front of him, next to your rabbi.
You shouldn't daven near him?
Shouldn't daven near him. We'll see why.
Why?
We will soon see. We will soon see.
That does raise some questions.
Okay, you'll see. Don't worry. Don't worry. There are some say this only applies when you are davening individually. Let's say you happen to be driving your rabbi somewhere, and you both have to stop to daven on the road. So it's just you and your rabbi. You shouldn't daven right next to him, right behind him, in front of him, side to him. However, this opinion says that if you're davening in shul, and that's your place to daven is right next to the rabbi, that's fine. Don't get too excited. I will see. For now it says, even though it's good to be stringent, even in shul, the custom is to be lenient.
To be what?
Lenient. Meaning if it's your place in shul, you have an honorable place in the shul right next to the rabbi, it's fine to daven there. You don't have to worry about it. And then it says, Im hirchik arba amos mutter. If you distance yourself 4 amos, then it's allowed. 4 amos, this is an amma from your finger to your elbow. So it's like 6 feet, let's say. So if you're 6 feet away from the rabbi, that's fine. Now, you ask what the reason for this is. Let's see. The Mishnah Berurah writes, Ayin Gimel, Kihu Yuhara, Shemarshu Shavel Rabo. It's arrogant because you're equating yourself with the rabbi. If you daven next to the rabbi, you look like you're just as important as him. So it's an arrogant thing to do. And the last thing you want to do is be arrogant when you're davening.
But everybody here is rabbis.
So we're worry. Very, very good question. Maybe you have to daven outside.
Everybody here is a rabbi.
There was a previous.
Rabbi, everybody
you don't daven outside.
Right.
All the rabbis. All rabbis to me.
Let's see. We have to see if this is talking about every rabbi or certain rabbis. We didn't get there yet. Okay.
The only one that are rabbis are us. 1,
So
2, 3, 4.
the very next line deals with your question.
Huh?
The very next line deals with the issue you just raised. What if you daven in a kollel where everybody's a rabbi? In this context, when we say rabbi, we mean somebody that you learned most of your wisdom from. Used to be back in the day, you didn't have schools. You had father would hire a rebbe for his student, for his son, and the rebbe would teach him from the time he was a little kid. So most of this person's Torah knowledge is from this rabbi. So we're only talking about those rabbis, right? If you have a rabbi who knows a lot and is respectful, this law doesn't apply to him. It's still probably a nice thing not to daven in front of him or super close to him for other reasons, like we're going to say. But this halacha of not davening right next to the rabbi is only dealing with a rabbi who is someone you learned most of your wisdom from. And very few people have that nowadays. Or there's one other case. Gadol Hador, or the greatest rabbi of the generation. So it could be you have people like that here. But generally people would probably say that's Reb Chaim Kanievsky in Bnei Brak. So it's actually happened to me once. I was in Kol Chazon Ish in Bnei Brak, and I was sitting right behind Reb Chaim Kanievsky, who's the Gadol Hador. So I didn't know this halacha then. I can't remember if I davened, right? I might have davened behind him. I don't remember. But I remember being behind him when he was learning the Chumash, and he was reading it like this fast with Rashi, just like page after page. He'd seen it a couple times before. So if you happen to be with the Gadol Hador, then you shouldn't, this halakha would apply. What were you saying?
No, I'm sure he was reading it extremely fast.
He finishes,
probably half from memory.
he finishes the Torah every year and makes a siyum, the entire Torah, meaning Chumash, like they do the siyum Hashas every 7.5 years, so he does that every year, plus the Jerusalem Talmud, all the Midrashim and the Shulchan Aruch and everything, everything.
Wow.
And they couldn't figure out that every couple years he was publishing a book. And they couldn't figure out. Right, so what it was that every leap year you have an extra month. He was using that every extra month to publish a book, Reb Chaim Kanievsky.
Wow.
Okay. V'lo achori rabo, demechsi namikura. So that was, you're not allowed to daven next to your Rebbe or in front of him because it looks like it's arrogant. So why can't you daven behind your Rebbe, right? What's the wrong with davening behind? That's not arrogant. He's in front of you. So it says the mexi namikura. So even that looks like arrogance. There's actually another reason. It looks like when you're bowing, when you daven, it looks like you're bowing to the Rebbe. That's a problem. Right? You don't bow to Rebbes. There's another reason why you shouldn't daven behind your Rebbe, is because you're going to cause him, you're going to mitzayir him, you're going to cause him tsar, pain, because what if he finishes Shemona Esrei first, he's not allowed to take 3 steps back, because you're not allowed to take 3 steps back if someone's davening in front of you. Right? If you finish Shemona Esrei, and there's someone davening in back of you, you're not allowed to take 3 steps back to go into his 6 feet of space. Right? Just like you're not allowed to walk in front of someone when you daven. So if you're davening behind your Rebbe, and he wants to finish davening, and you're still davening, you're going to cause your Rebbe unnecessary pain. In general, this seems like a nice thing to do. If you know that you have a longer Shemona Esrei, you should daven in front of the shul, so you shouldn't cause other people problems that they're stuck there. Okay, v'lo lefanov. The kal v'chomer d'zavadehu b'zayin l'rabba. Right, if you daven in front of your Rebbe, for sure that's very arrogant, and it's a b'zayin. So why? How come in shul it's different? We said this issue is only when you're davening by yourself. Why is it in shul it's okay? It says everybody knows in shul, like we learned last week, you're supposed to have a set place in shul, or a couple weeks ago. Right? You're supposed to have a set place where you daven. So people know that you're davening next to your Rebbe, not because you're being arrogant, but because that's your place. That's where you sit. Right? And you don't look like you're bowing to him either. Shetov lahachmir, and we said nevertheless you should be stringent if you can. But the Mishnah Berurah says we had a few reasons why you shouldn't daven in back of your Rebbe. One was it looks like you're bowing to him, or perhaps it's arrogant, or there was a third reason that when he takes 3 steps back, you're going to still be davening, and that'll be annoying for him. So if you're in shul, and this is your set place, so you don't have the first 2 reasons. It's not arrogant, because the only reason you're davening there is because that's your set place. And people aren't going to think you're bowing to your Rebbe because you're just davening there because that's where you daven. But the third reason still applies. If he finishes Shemona Esrei before you, he's not able to take 3 steps back, and that's going to be annoying for him. So for that reason, if you're in shul, you shouldn't daven so right behind the rabbi. And again, technically we said we're talking about only from a rabbi that you learned most of your wisdom from, but I imagine that it will be good midos to not do this to any rabbi or any person that, don't set your seat. If you know someone like davens quickly and you daven long, probably not the best idea to make your permanent seat in back of the guy, because then he's not going to be able to take 3 steps back. So how far should you go behind your rabbi? You should take. So what's the law? When someone's davening, how close can you walk in front of him? So it's 4 amos. You shouldn't walk in front of him. When you take 3 steps back. If you take 3 steps back, if the person is so far back that it's more than 4 amos, which is about 6 feet, then it's okay. So you should make yourself 6 feet away behind the rabbi, plus 3 steps. Because this way you can take 3 steps, and after those 3 steps, he's still more than 6 feet away from the person davening. Okay. And we said Arba Amos Mutter, the Rishus Acherezi, Vam Pri Megam, Shekaz B'Shem Pri Chodesh, the Lefan of Sagi B'Arba Amos, Mitzvim Sois, V'Lachoy Rabba Bein in Arba Amos, V'Shalosh Psias, okay, we mentioned this, B'Toch Arba Amos, V'Lo Asu Lipsoa, Tohon, Mutter, okay, Afilu B'Samach, the Rishus Acherezi. So let me see what this is. Oh, if someone's davening in the bima, you're allowed to take, let's say you're davening and there's someone davening behind you and he's on the bima, can you take 3 steps back? So he says yes, because the bima is in the middle of the shul and it's like a separate rishus, it's like a separate domain, and that's not an issue of taking 3 steps back in front of him. But I'm trying to think the shul's here, right? No shul he really has in Menalp and a bima in the middle, so it's not going to be relevant here. Okay, fine.
So how does that work? How does it affect? Say we had one in the middle. So
let's say you're in a shul that they have. No, but it's not raised up. I meant bima where you have.
About.
Yeah,
like
you know where
Park
they have.
Avenue in Lakewood, the Park Avenue Congregated Sons of Israel.
Yeah, like Neri Yisrael has it. You go up. Yeah, it's like with like cornered off.
Some kind of a
Beth
stage
Abraham
kind of
in
thing.
Bergenfield.
Yeah, so if someone's davening in the front of that stage and you're davening in back of them, so you're allowed to take 3 steps back if the other person is davening on the bima because it's considered a separate domain. So that's that. There's other exceptions. We're not there yet, but God willing, we will get to those halachas. Okay.
The pews, you can't even take 3 steps back.
Oh, the sons of Israel.
There's pews in those type of shuls.
Yeah.
There's pews right in front of the bima. The bima is in the middle.
Right.
And there's the people sitting in front of the bima.
Right.
There's like pews, so you can't even do like.
What if you take steps to the side then? If
You got to do to the side. You can't really.
Yeah, I guess if you have to, but you should know you have to take a full step. Like when people like do this, it says when you do that, that doesn't count.
They can do.
Okay, Talmud Chaver mutar lispalo achori rabo.
When you're not sitting in my seat, that is. I do that on Shabbos.
A Talmud Chaver is somebody who is he's a student, but he's reached the level where he's also a rabbi. So that type of person is allowed to daven behind his Rebbe.
Say it again, Dave.
A Talmud Chaver. We were talking about someone shouldn't daven close to their rabbi.
Right.
So a Talmud Chaver who is a student of the rabbi, but he is also became on a very high level. He's also a rabbi and also knowledgeable, but he's still a student.
Right.
That type of individual is allowed to daven close to his rabbi.
Within the 4 Amos.
Yeah. Correct. And again,
Anybody Kolo, if you're a person here, you're saying any of these guys can daven within 4 Amos
Of each other?
of their rabbis, of their rabbis.
well, anyway, you could
They
because
all live in the same neighborhoods, they all live separately, in Lakewood Center.
yeah, but also here nobody is really this halacha was really only talking about your primary Torah teacher, where you learn most of your wisdom from. So I don't think anyone here, as much as we learn from Rabbi Cass, I don't know if we've learned most of our knowledge in our entire lives
You're
from
talking
him.
about the 5 Gedolim from like BMG, those guys like
So even-
Pella and Olshin and Newman and whatever.
So even them, I don't know. Maybe they're kids, but like I don't know if there's anyone who's like learned most of their wisdom from them. Like if you think about, like back in the day, someone had a Rebbe. That was like their one Rebbe for most of their lives. So like 51% of all your Torah knowledge came from one person, then he's got like a special status, right?
Talking about the 1800s.
Yeah. No, it really doesn't exist so much anymore. There are certain times where even you have to honor that type of Rebbe more than your parents. Right, stuff like that. Okay, so the next halacha. Kol makom she'ein koren bo kriya shema, ein mispalim bo. Any place that you're not allowed to read shema, you're not allowed to daven. Ukashem shemarchikin mitzoa umeraglayim v'reach ra umenames umeriyas ha'erba likros shema kach marchikin l'tfila. And just like when we read shema, the laws state that one has to distance himself from excrement, urine, a bad smell, from a dead body, from seeing scantily clad women, or other things like that. Kach marchikin l'tfila. So too, you have to distance yourself when we daven. So the laws about this, what we discussed about if you like, there's a bad smell in a place or near a bathroom, that's really all in the laws of Shema. So I wrote some of the main things down because that's not really the simon, but he's saying all the laws. Don't think that those laws only apply for Shema. It also applies for davening. So, like for instance, if you're davening and there is human excrement and you could smell it, you have to distance. This was like I saw a documentary about London, what it was like in the Middle Ages.
Oh.
They had special shoes they had to wear on the bottom of their shoes because the streets, or they didn't have bathrooms. They just dumped all their waste in the streets, and walked through the streets, and it was just like piles of waste everywhere, and everything else. So anyway,
Virtually all of Europe.
right, yeah, but I mean these halachas do come up sometimes. Like, so if there's excrement somewhere, that happens, and it smells, you have to be dalet amos, which is about 6 feet where the smell ends. So if the excrement is here, and then the smell ends here, you have to be here. It's not enough to stand here. You got to be 4 amos away from where the smell ends, and that's a Torah prohibition to read to daven if you can smell the droppings. And if it's in front of you, you can't even see it in front of you. Even if it's 100 yards away, if it's in front of you, you're not allowed to daven. That's talking about on the side or when it's behind. Now, urine, if there's urine, which could happen, it's probably more common. Let's say there's urine in a bath. Someone went on the floor and the bathroom door is open. You have to be dalet amos from the urine, meaning urine is rabbinic. It's excrement is biblical. It's a biblical prohibition to read, so it's more serious. If it's urine, you just have to be dalet amos away from it. If it smells, though, it's the same, though. It has to be dalet amos from where the smell ends. And also, if it's in front of you, you can't see. So this could come up if you have someone that misses the toilet and you could smell it from the bathroom. You have to make sure you're dalet amos from where that smell ends, because if urine smells, it's a Torah prohibition.
That's the case too. But more likely like someone changing a diaper on a baby. You're talking.
Yeah, that comes up, or
It's more
or like I have a nursing home. You're visiting someone in a nursing home. Sometimes there's smells, or there people can't take care of themselves. It comes up. Now,
But it's only when you're praying.
it's when you're praying, saying any holy words, a bracha, davening, shema,
Oh, bracha,
yeah, all that. Now, erva, that was the other thing, a scantily clad woman. So, if this probably is not going to come up. If a woman, when we say erva with a woman, means her private parts, means really her private parts, right? If she's wearing a bikini, that's not her private parts. So that, if you happen to be in that situation, what you do is you have to turn totally around, not facing her. Now, if there are places that she has which are not covered, which are usually covered, so that happens pretty much any time, anywhere. So that's not so much in the winter, but that's like above the knee, or maybe above the elbows, or any other place, a midriff, or if it's low-cut shirt. What you can do then is just close your eyes. If you close your eyes, you can make a bracha. Now, another thing which happens actually, if there's a woman singing, you're not allowed to make a bracha, say shema or daven. If you hear a woman singing, because that says kol b'isha erva, a woman's voice is prohibited to listen to. It could induce impure thoughts. So if you're davening, you're not allowed to daven if you hear that. Where this could come up pretty common is if let's say you go to the bathroom in the mall or in the supermarket and you want to make an asher yatzar and they're playing the radio and there's a woman's voice on the radio. Can you make an asher yatzar? So there are a lot of reasons that you could be lenient, perhaps, but I think Rabbi Shulman asked one of the rabbis in Lakewood. He said, if you can, if you can leave the store and make an asher yatzar, that's good, but don't make yourself crazy. Like maybe if you're in the rest stop in the turnpike and they got women music playing, then you can just wait till you get in your car to make an asher yatzar. But so these halachas do come up. Also, it's more common with animal excrement. If someone's walking their dog, someone has a dog, stuff like that. So these halachas we have to be mindful of. But that is what the Shulchan Aruch is telling us, that just like these laws apply to Shema, they also apply to davening. Okay. Marchikin l'tfila v'hu adin l'talmud Torah. Oh, also learning, right? You can't learn Torah in those situations, right? If you want to learn Torah and you can smell a bathroom, right? Maybe you're at a game or something, and I don't know, there's a porta potty, and you smell the porta potty. Can't really learn Torah over there, right? Because these things have to be done in a holy place. Okay. In that vein, haya omed b'tfila. Let's say you're diving in shul, v'hishtin tinek b'beis haKnesses, and a kid goes to the bathroom on the floor in the middle of the shul while you're davening. What do? So yishtok at shiyavi mayim lahatel al hameraglayim. You wait. You're silent until someone comes to pour water on the urine. Because what you're allowed to do, since urine is only rabbinic, you can pour water, a revius of water, to dilute it. Because once you dilute it, it's not such a problem. So you should be quiet until someone does that. Or you could actually move during Shemona Esrei to get 4 amos away, next to it or behind it, right? This is one of the few times you're allowed to move in Shemona Esrei. Or you could leave the shul and finish davening there. But the best thing to do is to actually move. You don't want to wait until someone brings something to dilute the urine, because you might be waiting there for a long time. And the rule is, if you are waiting for a long time, in certain cases, when you're saying Shemona Esrei, and you waited the time it would take to finish Shemona Esrei, you have to start all over again. So the best thing is just to leave the premises. So Mishnah brought in that to finish the simon. Same thing with Shema. Right. Okay. Fine. Yishtok. The chol ze lo mikre hafsek. Avol asur lahafsek v'dibur lahevi lo mayim. Kevin de iser meruglayim ein omud derban. V'gam yish omrim de ein tzarek laharchik v'zeh klal. Aken afilu im achirim omdim b'toch ha'tvalim. Ein lahafsek v'dibur b'shvilam l'hodiyah. Now, you're not allowed to. You're allowed to move to daven away from where this kid went to the bathroom, but you're not allowed to tell someone, "Hey, go get some water, clean that up," because you're in the middle of davening. So you're allowed to move, but you're not allowed to talk. Also, let's say you see there's a kid went to the bathroom in the middle of the shul, so you move over. Do you have to tell the other people? Let's say they don't notice it. Do you tell the other people to move? So you don't tell the other people. Why? Because what's the prohibition to daven next to urine? It's only rabbinic, and it's also a rabbinic prohibition to speak during davening. So you're left with a rabbinic versus a rabbinic, so you don't do anything. Now,
is that the same thing like when you're not supposed to tell someone that?
It's a separate. I think it's a separate reason.
It wasn't the same type of reason.
No, the reason here is because you're not allowed to interrupt in Shemona Esrei.
Okay.
Right. But now let's say, remember we said that that's only urine, but excrement, that's a Torah prohibition. What if the kid's diaper falls off and you got excrement in the middle of the shul? What do you do? And you have people, they don't realize. They're just davening, they don't realize. It's right next to it. So since they're violating a Torah prohibition by davening next to the excrement, and for you to interrupt davening is only rabbinic, it's a lower level, it's better for you, you're allowed to tell them. You're allowed to say, hey buddy, you should stop davening and move because there is stuff on the floor. Look for this barlel, but some nine test, Mr. Brewer, Bear Lacha. Now, if the best thing to do, let's say for some reason you have something you could cover it. I don't know, you have a jacket or something you don't mind getting dirty, and you could cover the urine and cover the stuff, and you don't have to move, and you don't have to talk. That's the best thing to do. So let's say you're in a case. You're in a shul, there's no way out. A kid just went to the bathroom, you can't move, can't go outside because there's people davening, you're not going to go in front of people davening. What do you do? And if you quiet the whole time, you're going to be waiting for 20 minutes and you'll have to daven the Holy Shemona Esrei again. So what do you do in that case? So there is an opinion you can rely on that says, since you're not allowed to daven next to urine, but there's one opinion that says if you already started davening and that happens, you don't have to stop. So the Mishnah Berurah says in this case where you have no choice, you can't wait because it'll be too long, you can't get out, so you can just finish davening. Fine. Something else. If you're davening the brachos to Shema and you wait a long time, you don't have to go back to the beginning. And guess what? We just finished Siman Sadi of the Mishnah Berurah, which is very exciting. And next week, God willing, we'll start Sadi Aleph, which is how do you have to dress when you daven? Let's say you get up in the middle of the night, you're not wearing a shirt, and you just want to make a bracha. You have to put on a shirt and things like that. We will discuss that next week, God willing. Thanks for coming.
That's us.
That's the Torah. Thank you,
Yep, we
David.
will.